is the best. Just shooting from the hip. Let's go.
Okay. You know what? I don't listen to anything you say anymore because like I don't want to say that your opinion doesn't matter anymore on this show, but basically your opinion's not even present half the time. So, and even saying half the time is incredibly generous by me, if I can be honest.
I I just have nothing to say.
Good, because I have I have plenty to say.
Don't be jealous.
Deborah,
Josh is jealous that I record more with Crystal than I do with him at this point. So,
it's not
yeah.
jealous. It's
Well,
hurt. That's
you know, it's,
fine.
it's actually funny because like I only record with Crystal once a month, but we do like several episodes in the same night. So then when she releases them, it looks like I've done like all like spent all this time with her.
Yeah, it's cool.
I only spend once a month with Crystal. It's fine.
Yeah, and lately it's been like 0 times a month with Connectable, but that's okay. That's fine. In fact, I just want to point this out that yesterday I recorded, at this point it will be the previous episode with David Perdue. And at one point he was saying, I forgot exactly what he was talking about. We're not sponsored by Truly, but Deb wanted to point that out to all the viewers. Um, he was saying something about, he's like, I mean, you get it, right? Because you're a solo podcast host. I said, oh, no, let me pause you right there. I said, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm glad you said that because actually this is a partnership. And I do have a co-host, but she's never here. And she kind of picks and chooses. So I'm glad you said that. I'm going to pass that information along to her because you have, she's missed so many that this man thought that I was running this thing by myself. How do you feel about that?
Hey, you know what? It happens. Like there are many podcasts where there's 2 or 3 people. Sometimes they're missing. Sometimes one person's there. Sometimes 2 people are there. It's fine.
Okay. No, that's no, I know what you're talking about. And I listen to a lot of podcasts too. Usually, like this show is built off of, hey, I'm Josh. I'm Deb. Like that's how I hear you, just so you know. That's what I hear when you talk. You sound like a Muppet. And this is how the show is supposed to go. It's like two of us, we interview people, we have our own conversations. People are like, hey, you guys have a fun dynamic. Now they're like, hey, this is
Oh,
fun. They don't even bring that, they don't bring you up anymore. Literally, I'm not joking. People have literally come up to me and it's like, is she still on the show? I'm not,
some,
and that's not just Jordan. He's not the only one that makes that joke. Other
some
people are dead serious. They're like, really? No, she's still there.
everyone needs to calm down. I'm still here. I'm just here sporadically. It's like a lottery. It's like hit or miss. I'm here. I'm not here. You just never know what you're gonna get.
But
So
it's like the California state lottery where you have a like
yeah,
1 in a million chance of seeing Deb.
it's exciting. It's like you don't know. I might be here. I might not. We'll see.
That's a unique way of putting it. Um, I don't buy into it. In fact, I brought something here for us to go through, Deb. Okay, you ready for this?
Oh God. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, I take notes and I'm prepared for this episode because we're basically just going to
I'm
catch up
ready.
and talk about anything. But I want to start here because I can't let this go every
I
time.
really are ready. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. So okay, so I found an article that says 5 signs your partner isn't right for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you
I'm
ready?
so
Okay,
excited.
so I want you. So I'm gonna mention these. I'm like, yeah, that fits this. That fits this partnership. Okay, you have different core values. The biggest one probably being loyalty, which we seem to have a different viewpoint on, which is fine. I'm a loyal person. I've never. You joke about 2 weeks. I've never once thought about kicking off the show. Uh, you have different thoughts, and not just different thoughts, but you also flaunt it in my face on social media. You're like, hey, another episode on the self-love breakfast club. Cool, we get it, Deb. You like Crystal Rose better than me. You don't need to shove it in my face. You know why? I would never do that because I'm loyal. I'm loyal. So yes, we have different core values, the main one being loyalty. The second is they take you for granted. Huh, that's interesting because I do the editing for this podcast, I do the social media posting, I schedule guests, I schedule our meetings. And at one point you did schedule, you put together the Zoom invite.
Yeah.
I do that now too. So really all you have to do is show up.
I
You just
taught
show
you.
up.
I taught
Huh?
you everything you need to know. It's fine.
She taught me nothing. She taught me nothing, people. So does she take me for granted? Yes. They don't respect you. Yeah, I mean, that goes without saying, I think. I mean, you look at 1 and 2, of course she doesn't respect me. There's like literally there is no respect in this friendship here.
Did you listen to my last episode on Not Here to Judge?
I skimmed through it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I basically, you didn't, okay, you would, I'm surprised you did not bring it up. I basically, like, I was with Brett on the last one, it's called Girl Boss with Brett. I basically was just not bragging, but telling the story about how I won the fantasy football thing. We won't like go into detail about that, but we're talking about, so when you, when you said not, no respect, I just thought of that one.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's actually fitting. I'm like, you thought this would be a perfect time to bring that up. Now it makes sense. Yeah, you're right. That was a perfect time because you don't respect me or my time, even though today you were very kind and you allowed us to bump us back later in the day. So I will say that for Deb. She was respectful in this moment, but in general, no, she does not respect me. Number 4, we're going to skip because it does not apply to us or the situation. It has more to do with a romantic relationship. So we're going to skip that one. And and the last one is they take rather than give. That's interesting. Yeah, I think it's 100% true because, you guys, you came over to my house, you were hanging out with me and my wife. I taught you how to edit podcasts and you're like, oh, cool. I'm done with them now.
Just like,
Yeah, exactly. You wiped your hands clean of me and our podcast listeners who have come to enjoy our dynamic, which doesn't really exist anymore. And yeah, so you do take rather than you give. You did give me and my wife a Christmas present, which was very nice. Although I do, not to be rude, but I do know it came out of your closet because you shared that with us on a Christmas episode. So I don't know, how deep you had to go in your closet for that gift, but I do know where it came from. And I do know that you had it for a while, just hoping that you could give it to someone. Am I wrong?
wow, this feels like, okay, do you feel better? You purged?
Oh, anytime I get to roast you, I feel good. Now, does it solve any of our issues? No, of course not. This is an ongoing thing.
Oh,
I'm taking for granted everybody, and I'm not trying to get everybody's sympathy. I'm just letting them know this is the kind of relationship that's built here, is one of
okay.
abuse. And here's the sick thing. She's not even trying to hide it, people. Look at if you could see her right now, the reason you're not hearing anything from her side is because she's laughing. She's covering her mouth, she's laughing, her face is red, and her body's just shaking because she's enjoying this so much, which is the sign of a psychopath. Like there's no compassion, no empathy in her heart. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's down at the bottom of the ocean somewhere with all the fake mermaids she swims with. That's what's happening here.
hey, I'm just a woman. What can I say?
What I'm not even sure what to say to that. What does that even mean?
Oh my God. I'm
I thought,
here. Are you so excited? Let's get right into it. What are we talking about today?
am I excited? Did you not hear the last 5 minutes?
I think you're so excited that I'm here.
All right. Well, she's delusional.
That,
Hey,
that was Josh. That was Josh's like version of like, well, like, okay, Deb's back. I'm excited. I got to roast her for a little bit and now let's just go.
yeah, and you can expect that every time you come back after a long hiatus. So just buckle up. Which, as you
I'm
know,
ready.
if anybody knows me, if I don't joke with you like this, then I probably don't. If I don't joke with you, then I probably don't care for you that much, or don't like you that much. You know what I mean? So, in reality, this is a compliment. Also, it's like
Oh,
you give a lot of ammo. You do.
I do. And not just with you, but with my other friends. So it's fine. I'm used to it.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Off topic. Okay. So Deb and I did an episode of my other podcast, Home Team Sacramento, which was a lot of fun. It was a lot it wasn't as loose as this. So if you want just like a straight interview, that's closer to what that was. But I reached out to Deb and said, hey, do you have like a headshot that I can use for, the promo stuff?
Did I not give you that headshot?
You did.
Oh, I did. Okay.
You did. No, you did. No, trust me. That I would have led off with that. If you didn't give me a headshot. It's like, again, she takes me for granted and she doesn't respect me because I asked her something. She's like, cool, doesn't give it. But luckily that time you did give the headshot. Now it's a very nice picture. Okay. I don't know if it's a school picture. It looks like it's a nice professional picture. But if I can be honest, can I be honest about the picture?
Okay.
Okay. It looks a little bit like a picture you might see in like a Making a Murderer documentary.
What?
Because it is just like a perfect picture. Like it's a perfectly edited picture. And you have a look in your eyes like, here's the thing. If I said, hey, Deb, if you were in like an interrogation room, I said, hey, Deb, be honest, did you commit the murder? And you'd be like,
I just smile.
no, you shrug your shoulders and smile. That's what it looks like. It's like one of those pictures where it's like almost too, you know what I mean? Like whoever did that picture, is it a school picture?
No, I don't remember what I sent you. I think I sent you the same headshot that I give to Crystal. That's the only headshot I have. And
Sure.
anytime like I did, that's all I got. It was taken a few years ago by one of my good friends. She's a
Okay.
photographer. And so she helped me out and she did me a favor. So she
Okay.
took it, she fixed it up and like she did the smoothing out of edits or whatever. I don't know.
It's a
So
very nice picture, but it also, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that woman's killed some people. There's some bodies somewhere.
I mean, you'll never know, I guess.
No, and I believe you. I believe you. I believe you've done a good job hiding them. So
Haven't been caught yet.
perfect. How's it going?
It's great.
Good. Good.
This
Should
is a
we just
great,
stop? Should we just stop it there?
this is a great start. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, one thing I did want to bring up. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but and it just is what it is. Actually, hold on. Give me 1 second. Talk for 1 second. I need to take care of something really quick.
Okay.
Go ahead, Deb.
Well, 1 second, Josh. It's getting hot outside, definitely. How are you liking the weather?
It's good.
It's good. Why are you running in this heat? I've seen you post that
Uh,
you're
yeah,
it's
I haven't
I'm
run for a
a
little
runner.
while.
No, but I remember you posting something in your, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it was last week. It wasn't. Today was hot. Today was like 90 degrees. I was out at my pool with my friends. It was hot today.
Nice.
I'm not ready to run in this heat though. So
Yeah. Okay. I do know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't too bad that day. It was like the low
Okay.
80s. I like running the heat. I really don't like running in the cold
Mm.
because I just feel like the ice cubes are in my lungs. And I don't like it. It's just not comfortable. And I know I've talked about this before. Everybody's like, the cold's so much better because you can add layers. That's fine. I hate I don't like the cold. I don't like the rain. All that stuff can go kick rocks. I don't like it. I
Same.
just prefer the heat. I like the summer. Like just all the things that I love are in the summer. Like you have
Yeah.
baseball, it starts in the spring, goes all the way through the summer. I like water. I like, again, I just like the sun. Yeah, I just enjoy it more.
I do have to say, so I was in Oregon this past weekend. I was at like a mini family reunion. It was really good. We had a really good time. But we were on the coast of Oregon. So we were like in the Florence area. Never been there before. It's beautiful. Like literally our Airbnb was on the ocean.
Hmm.
One of my family members had their little dog. I think it was a Shiba Inu. I think I said that right. Puppy.
Okay.
So she was super energetic. They stayed at the house. Some of us went down to the ocean. I was like, "Can I take your dog?" Because I've been without a dog for a solid year now. I need to take this dog. And it was cold. It was cold the whole time, basically the whole trip. So when I took that dog down there to the beach, we all went down there. We were like taking pictures. We were just kind of hanging out. The dog like just really needed to run,
Okay.
like bouncing around, and I couldn't take her off her leash because they told me they're like she's a runner, so just don't let her go, like she's gonna run away. And so, anyway, I started running with her, like holding her leash because I'm like, she needs to run. And then it started raining, and it was
Oh
cold outside.
no.
But no, but like I will say, like I hate running in the rain. I'm with you. I don't like running in the cold. I'd rather run when it's hot rather than cold. But running in the rain and just with that weather, just because like, your body heats up and all that stuff when you're exercising, it actually felt really good afterwards. And I was
Huh.
actually like I had my like rain boots on, so I couldn't like my rain shoes on, so I couldn't get a ton, not rain boots, but like they were like all weather like boots type thing. So I was running in those. So, but I wish I had like my tennis shoes on, and I wish I could like have kept going.
Right.
Um, but and I was running on the beach, but with when the sand is wet, it's not so difficult. It's like a little more solid, you know.
Right.
But it felt really good, and I was questioning my loyalty to California at the moment. I was like, do I want to move? Am I going to be in Oregon someday with this weather? Because this feels really good to run in this type of climate. So I was questioning my own love for the sun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I've been to Oregon one time. Uh, just the gloominess, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I like the sun too much, but that's just me.
Thank you. No, I do too. I think it was just because like the ocean was right there, and it was just like a different scenery. Like it didn't
Sure.
really matter how gloomy it was. It just was still pretty, like just to be out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe that's what it was. But in that moment, I'm like, what do I need to do to move here?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, beach running is fun. It is challenging though. Like my family goes to the Central Coast every year, and obviously there it is. You do kind of get that cooler weather. We've gone a lot of years recently where it's been in the 70s and it's no wind in 70s. It's beautiful and sunny and all that. But I mean, obviously it's still the Central Coast, so you do get those days where it's kind of cloudy. And I heard someone describe it like it's basically weather where you wear a hoodie and shorts and you're good. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of what happens. But I remember I was doing a marathon, my first marathon, and the training fell like one of the more important weeks of the training fell into that trip. I'm like, dang, I'm gonna have to do my really long run on this beach. And it was tough because you're used to doing like these loops where you're seeing different houses or different parts of the trail. When you're on the beach, you see ocean, and there might be something, up the shore, you might see something a little different, but you're just basically in one straight line. And it's like, oh, this is never going to end. And then you have to turn back at some point. It's like, oh, I have to go all that way. And it looks so far away. So it's a really interesting thing, but it is nice though. Once you kind of get into that rhythm and that groove,
Yeah.
it is very nice.
Yeah.
There was one time though, this was maybe like 6 years ago. I went on an early morning walk with my dad, and he always wakes up early and goes on these walks. I'm like, yeah, let me join you. So this was maybe like the second day of the trip, and we were there for I think 5 or 6 days. And we're walking and walking, and I don't usually go with him on those walks, but we're just walking and walking. And I'm like, man, we're a long way. Like, how long? I mean, he's an older guy. He's in good shape, but he's an older dude. Like, how long are we gonna walk? And finally, I'm like, hey, when do you turn back? He's like, oh, I would have turned back like a mile ago. I'm like, what are we doing? Why didn't you tell me, man? He's like, I just thought you were wanting to keep walking. It's like, no, man, I'm on this journey with you,
Following
dude.
you.
Yeah. Well, what happened is we turned around,
Mhm.
but we were on that sand that you were talking about, where it's that wet sand. Well, I wasn't wearing shoes. I was going barefoot the whole time, and
Oh,
I've never walked that far on that type of sand before. Like we're usually walking, half mile, maybe a mile.
mhm.
The bottom of my feet got so shredded.
Oh,
There was blisters all over the bottom of my feet. Again, this is the second day of the trip, and we're pretty active. We play spike ball, we throw the frisbee around, and I was walking around like someone's grandma because it was like and it was on both feet too, and they were just red. I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. I was like putting like bandages around my feet. I looked like you know, I don't know. I looked crazy out there, and you can't not play the game. It's like, well, I gotta suck it up. I gotta do it, but it was incredibly painful.
oh, that does not sound good.
Yeah, never do
Uh,
that again. I walked with him again, but I'm like, I'm gonna wear shoes if you're gonna go that far.
yeah.
And
You're
hey,
like,
man, let me
go
know
with
when to turn around. Yeah,
that. The last night on the beach there, we were walking for quite a while, me and my family. And then at one point someone said, should we turn around? Because when you're on the beach, and if you have like a point where you're like, okay, I know that's my where we started, like a building or something, or a
right,
house, beach house or whatever. The further you walk away, I swear the point looks the same. Like it doesn't shrink. So
right.
you don't realize how far away you are. It's like, oh no, it's right there. And you turn around and you're like, how come it's taking me forever to get back there? But we found ourselves doing that on the last night. We were walking for a while and we had to turn around
Yeah,
and back a ways. So
Yeah, but that's still fun though. It's fun, especially when you're having I mean, that's the cool thing about the beach for me. Like I love walking on the beach with my family and when we go on those trips. And you can walk by yourself or you can run by yourself. It's really nice, really relaxing, really peaceful. But then it's also a lot of fun if you're walking with a bunch of people and just having conversation for that long stretch.
yeah.
It's just fun. It's like a you kind of get lost in it. And like you said, you don't really realize where you're at. You kind of just like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
we've just been going and we've been enjoying the conversation so much.
Right.
And there's not really a whole lot to distract you, right? Like some other people maybe, but you're out there on the beach next to the ocean and you can just kind of have a conversation without a million things,
Right.
fighting for your attention. So I think it's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was needed. I was like, this part of Oregon's like a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Like, so anyone who hasn't been to Florence, Oregon, it's really, really nice. It's more of like an older community, like retirement age, like sit like town, but it's really cute, really pretty. Anyway,
It's awesome.
yeah. So that was fun.
Hey, I did want to bring this up because we haven't had a chance to talk about this on the podcast.
Hmm.
And we haven't even really had a chance to talk about this in person either. Um, it was maybe like 3 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly when this happened, but I was up early one morning and I had to get some stuff done. So I was driving around, but so I thought I sent you a voice note
Yeah.
because that night I had a dream about you that I saw you in in a gym. I walked into a gym
Yeah.
and I saw you, and I can only describe it like one of those videos you see on Instagram or YouTube where the person has absolutely no clue what they're doing with the machine. And you were basically like hanging upside down from like the lap pull down bar and you were getting tangled in the cables of machines and like dropping weights. I'm like, and my first thought was like, oh my gosh, it's like someone needs to call your school and tell them she's not cut out to teach PE or train anybody because she has no clue what she's doing. It was the most bizarre dream. Like I was, I was concerned for the safety of your students. Um, and my wife, being a fellow PE teacher, she thought that was fun. She enjoyed that. But
Oh
but so
my
anyways, I shared that with Deb on a voice note, and apparently I left too much of a pause. But I don't remember doing that. But it doesn't surprise me. I was distracted because I was at a gas station. And I was people watching while I was sharing that note. And but yeah, the Deb's like, she's
God.
like, go ahead.
He paused. He goes, so I don't remember how you said it, but it's a voice. Yeah, it's a voice text. And he's like, you're like, so I had a dream about you. And then then you kept going, but you paused. And I'm like, so what, spit it out. Like, what do you, what? And so I don't remember I don't remember what I said back to you. I was just like, wow, I was kind of worried when you said you had a dream about me. But then I finished listening
Right.
to the rest of the message.
Yeah. Nothing weird. It's like I had a dream about you that you showed up to the podcast 2 weeks in a row. It was amazing. And I realized, no,
Dream come true.
that's not true. But no, yeah, it was just very funny. I don't know what it like. I don't even know what possessed me because at that point, you and I hadn't talked for quite a while, or even
Right.
text for quite a while because you
Yeah.
were out. You were busy doing stuff with everything going on with school at that point. And yeah, it was just the most bizarre dream. But it was a terrifying sight because I'm like, this woman teaches kids, and she
Right.
probably has a fitness unit. Shouldn't be
I,
teaching that.
I would fire myself too.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
yeah. I'm surprised they let you into the gym. It's like, whoa, we can't have her doing that.
You're like, who's letting this woman in the gym?
Yeah,
And
yeah, she clearly needs to
yeah.
take one of our classes because she doesn't know what she's doing. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up on the show.
Yeah.
So how do you, I mean, I get a sense that you're enjoying the um doing your own podcast, doing the Not Here to Judge, but and like I said, I've always been honest with you. I don't listen to every episode all the way through, but I do like to listen to every episode and skim through.
Skimmed.
Um, and they've been great. Yeah, they've been great. The last one with, like you said, with Brett. At this point, I don't know if it'll be the last one, but at this point, but one of the last ones you did was with Brett Chantel, and that was awesome. Very, very cool that she was on there, and it was a cool conversation. But yeah, it's been cool hearing you on that platform. do your thing.
Yeah.
As much as I joke about you abandoning this show.
Abandoned ship.
And like I'll say this, obviously you've mentioned before on here and on that show that started because you and I had a conversation, and I mentioned that it might be a good idea to give, because you did the episode with Nicole and Jamie on here, and I felt like it felt like such a different thing that it deserved its own space. Not to kick you off of here, but despite what you've said, not a big deal that you're slandering my name again.
Josh
Going back to
said,
loyalty.
Josh said, do not come on Connectable anymore. You need to do this. And you just come on Connectable when you need to.
When you need to. Okay, here we go. See, this is what I'm talking about, people. She just tells these lies with no hesitation. There's not even like anything that inside of her is like, should I do this? No, I'm just gonna do it. She just goes. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna ignore you. But yeah, so it's been cool seeing that show and seeing what it's doing and what the conversations you're having, and like seeing that style of podcast in its own space, because I think it deserved it. And it seems like it's doing really well, which I just want to say, I feel like I was right. Not a big deal, but it feels like I was right when I said that. And that's really the point why I wanted to come back to, is that, all the things I said seem to be coming true. Not a big deal, and not saying I called it and I told you so, but I just want to point that out.
Josh created, not here to judge. Yay. No, you were very instrumental in that. I don't think I would have I don't think I would have done my own platform if it weren't for you. And I definitely wouldn't have known how to edit and do all the things for that podcast the way you do for Connectable without you. No way.
That part's 100% true. I will say that, but you picked it up really well. And you haven't even asked me how to do anything since then. So you obviously know what you're doing, which is awesome.
I'm not gonna lie. I've had to YouTube some things when I started to like edit. I've had to like cut some things out of a couple episodes, or kind of like blur them together.
Yeah.
And I had to YouTube do some of that. There was one night where I was editing an episode, and I may or may not have wanted to throw my laptop over my balcony. May or may not have said the F word about 1,000 times. That was a very frustrating night. I was like, how does Josh, I can't, like, I don't know how to do this, but I got through it. I figured it out. And so
why didn't you just call?
Because I was trying to it was late at night. It was like, I was like, I just need to do this. I just want to get this over with. I want to get it done. I told myself I gave myself until the next day, and then I would call you, but then I figured it out by then.
Okay, well, please don't throw your laptop out the window, because I'm used to the camera now and the quality of the camera. So that would also affect this podcast. Not that you care, but it would. So
I just bought this, so I don't think I should throw it balcony either.
Good, please don't. But no, I was gonna say though, do you really think that you wouldn't? Honestly, do you think you would have at some point wanted to start your own podcast? Whether it was like leaving this one. In all seriousness, whether it was leaving this one, saying, hey, I want to do my own thing, or like what you're doing now, saying, hey, I would like to do this one in addition. Like, do you really think that? Because I feel like I can definitely see you doing, obviously I saw you doing your own podcast. Again, not a big deal, but I always thought at some point you would want to do that, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know that I would have done it on my own initiative, maybe down the road. I think in my brain, I didn't think I would have enough time. And the way I'm structuring this podcast is the episode recordings are so sporadic, so random. There's 1 week where I did like 4 recordings, like back to back to back. And then I took like the rest of the month off and just like released them. And there have been some weeks where I did 2 this week, 2 the next week, and then took another month off. Like, so it's just, it's so random. I don't have a schedule. I just am kind of like with my guests, who sometimes they reach out to me. Most of the time I'm asking them, but it's been nice. The ones that like want to, anyway, they've all been amazing. All my guests.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, but I don't know that I would have done it on my own. I don't know, because I never thought I would be on a podcast platform in general. So, backtrack to 3 years ago, or however many years ago that was when you asked me to be on. And I like dumbly thought you meant one episode. And I was like, sure. And then you're like, no, co-host. And I'm like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
what? So there's that. So, yeah, but I think once you showed me how to do everything, I was a little more like intrigued, like, oh, okay, I think I can do this. It's like doable. And then once I get the women, like once the women were here and we're talking and I see how excited they are about whatever it is we're talking about, it just really motivates me to like, okay, keep going, put it out there. And the feedback I get from certain women about how they enjoyed the episode or how it's helping them, that kind of keeps the ball rolling. So yeah, I've been trying to do a once a week release. There have been some weeks where like I would skip and some weeks where I'm not like consistent on like the day I release it, but
Right.
I'm like, okay, this is the best I can do right now. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Keep going. So
Yeah. No, it's been awesome. Excuse me.
Mm.
I think it's been great. And yeah, it definitely is, you do a good job of mixing up the content, right? Like some weeks it is just straight fun. Some weeks it's like a mixture, and then some of those weeks have been pretty, you have humor kind of mixed in throughout, but like some of them have been pretty
Pretty heavy.
intense.
Yeah.
And heavy, which is awesome because obviously people are going through different things, and
Mhm.
there's gonna be some weeks where people need to hear something like that's going to really help them, and then some weeks are like, hey, I don't need the heavy stuff, I just need something that's going to make me laugh, and you have that too. So no, I think it's been awesome. It seems like the response has been really good. um
Yeah.
I definitely have some ideas that I'll have to share with you at some point.
Sure.
Not for the content, but other stuff about your podcast. The
Yeah.
content is none of my business. But because I'm not a woman. I do have to say though, I don't want your podcast is called Not Here to Judge. I'm not a part of that. So I will judge. We don't need to talk about this too much, but some of these guys that you guys mention, what is going on?
Like on our dating episodes,
Just in general, like
general. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm.
all
That's
they're all morons. I mean, what are we doing?
well, that's why I mean, I'm trying to hang on. I got a Rolodex in my mind. The guests I've had on. Most of the guests I've had on are single women. Not all of them. But yeah, it's and that's why I love talking about the dating world because I feel like I know I'm not the only one. I'm
Sure.
the only woman in her 30s that's single and is like dating and just trying to figure things out. And that's why my topics lately have been like, alpha female, girl boss. And like a while ago, we had like single life and dating, with Nicole and Jamie. And we talked about what it's like in the 30s and 40s, like dating. I don't know. I have a theory that dating apps have made it difficult. However, I personally know people who have met on dating apps and are married with a kid and everything's great.
Sure.
A lot of people have had successful relationships with that. I think that dating apps can teach you communication skills. I think it can teach you what you like and what you don't like while you're single, like while you're figuring that out. But I think dating apps are so easily accessible and there's so many choices and there are so many things happening that it's hard. You can't focus on just one person. And so you get into this culture of just, you have like 20 options. It's like a freaking menu in front of you. Like, which one do I want on this day? Maybe on this day, on that day. Like, even if it's just a text or a day, it doesn't have to be anything like crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I think I think let me sum it up to, I think there are just more opportunities, and I'm going to speak for women because I'm a woman. I don't know how it is for the guys mostly, but for the women, I think there's just more opportunities for us to meet guys like that. The ones that you're like speaking of, like, the idiots or whatever, the jerks, the assholes.
You use whatever adjective you want.
I mean, right. The list can go on, but I think there's just more opportunities for us to meet those guys because we have so many options in front of us as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I like talking about it. I like navigating through it because it's very interesting, like in this day and age of like just dating and trying to get through that. But I think it's also important for women to be okay being like being alone, and don't, I'm a huge advocate of just don't be with someone just because you want to be with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not, no one's going to complete you. No one's going to, don't look for someone to fix you. In other words, people
Yeah.
are people are guilty of that, both sides of, women, men and women. So anyway, so I just like talking about those things.
Well, I was
So
gonna say, even in that case, like we're obviously talking about the dum dums, but that could even happen in a situation where the dude is a good guy or the lady is a good, a great woman, and but like you said, someone is in it because they just want someone, and then it's really not fair to the person. Like the person's not even a bad person. It's not like you're holding on to a person that's having a negative impact. It's
yeah,
just not the person you should be with, and then it's unfair to two people, and yeah, there's a
right,
lot to it for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
but no, I was just curious because like obviously that's kind of the point is you guys are talking about some of these horror stories, but some of them like you
I mean,
know like I
there's
don't speak for all guys, but some of these guys like, hey guys, and I've been out of the game for a long time now, so I don't know anything about the dating apps. Like I was never part of that world. um and you mentioned the communication thing. I'm just wondering, obviously it's easier to communicate that way, but sometimes I wonder if that's like a hindrance for people's communication as well,
yeah,
because what I mean, like not a hindrance. Let me take that back. Well, it's a different kind of communication, right? Like if you email someone or if you text someone, it doesn't necessarily indicate how they can communicate,
mhm,
like one-on-one human interaction. Like
right.
I mean, even if it comes to work or different things that I've had to send emails to, you send an email and you're like, okay, you kind of have an idea what the person might be like, and then you meet him, it's like, oh, they're completely different, good or bad. You know what I mean? So it's just a very interesting. I'm just curious. I don't know. I'm
Well,
spitballing here.
Well, and the communication part is like, but like through, okay. So on the dating apps, you can either just be like a air quote pen pal and just text people, and just that's all you do. And I've heard of that. I don't personally do that when I used to be on the dating apps. I'm on and off right now. I'm off. Um, and so
Why are you
people
off? Why are you off now? You have a podcast, content. What are you doing?
I'm out now. I just don't have time. No, I do that. I go in waves of just like I'm
Sure.
cool, like I'm busy, like well, and it gets to the point to where I literally am to like when work's coming to a close for the school year, like just like right now, where I am too busy and I try to be realistic, because it is kind of nice to know that some of these guys that I do meet on the dating apps, they actually want to meet in person because they're like, okay, like we need to talk in person. And I appreciate that. So it's not all bad. It's not all like, oh, this is a dumb idea. All these guys are stupid, or else I would never go on ever again.
Yeah.
So I try to be realistic about the time I do have. And if I know I'm too busy and I'm not even interested, and I just, don't even, right now I'm at the point in my life this month, at least it changes month to month. I just want to hang out with my friends. I just want to go to work, come and work out and come home. Now summer's approaching, so I might be like, okay, let me jump back on and see if I want to go on a few dates. Like I'll have a little bit more free time. But there's a texting communication only, and then there's a face-to-face
Hmm.
communication. And that's the part, if you are willing to meet people face-to-face, which that can be kind of scary off dating apps, it's because it's like, there's all these there's all these documentaries on Netflix now about,
Sure.
being scammed and, just all these things. So that can be scary. But anyway, when I was talking about communication, it is it's kind of the texting, which that's not great communication. I understand that part. But when you do meet face to face, the talking, communicating with someone you could potentially be interested in, that's
Mhm.
the type of practice I'm talking about. It's just all about getting to know yourself, like the more you talk to people of who you're interested in, and the more I'm not an advocate of like, oh, you need to be a serial dater for single people out there and you need to date all the time, but for me personally, the more dates that I've been on, the more I find out about myself, of what I want, what I don't want. This is what I'll put up with, this is what I won't put up with. And it makes me just more, for me personally, it just made me more secure of who I am and who,
Mhm.
that's why I'm just like, okay, I'm cool being off the dating apps this month. But it is practice and communication. It's just that's just my motto. Like the more for single people, the more you date, the more you get to know yourself. At least I think that's what the goal should be.
Yeah.
So yeah, the texting part can be a hindrance because some people go on there and they only want to text, which there's nothing wrong with that if both people just want to text, but 90% of the time, both they want to meet up. They don't just want a pen pal.
Right.
Like I'll literally scroll through guys' profiles and say, don't message me if you just want a pen pal. I totally get that. Totally understand that. That's like not even an annoying thing to read. Like I'm sure they've been burned by girls who just don't want to meet and they just want to write back and forth. And if you're on a dating app because you want to date someone and not just be a pen pal, I get it. So anyway, so
Is there nothing out there for that? It seems like that'd be a great thing.
just
Like,
be a pen pal.
yeah.
There should
Like
be
only fans, only pals.
only
Like
pals. We should start only pals.
there we go. That might be something a little different.
There's nothing wrong with that either. If you just want a pen pal, go for it. Like
Oh yeah, no, that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah.
No, I guess I was just thinking like, I just because obviously for some people, especially if they don't have much practice in that area, or even not even just that area, but if they're just not comfortable with talking to people, right? Like face to face, not comfortable talking to people, and it's an intimidating thing. You just wonder if there's a little bit more confidence behind the keyboard, right? There's a little bit more confidence as you're texting, right? Because there's a lot that doesn't go into that interaction. It's literally just words. And then once you add the face-to-face human contact, it's like, okay, now there's the body language, now there's the expressions, now there's the reaction to anything I say and what you say to me. There's just like a whole lot more to it. And I'm just wondering if that's ever been a problem for people where it's like there's a lot of confidence initially, but then it's almost like they freeze, almost like an athlete, right? Like they might try to talk themselves up, but once they step in the batter's box, is like, oh, I didn't realize this guy was throwing 97. This is way faster than I thought. Like I'm gonna strike out. You know what I mean? Again, I'm just curious. I'm not part of the world, so I'm just curious.
No, and I personally have seen that. If I'm like going on a date with someone, with a guy, and like just their texting was way different than their face to face. Like they were like, I've been on dates where I could tell they were totally more comfortable texting and just writing me things.
Yeah.
And just having, their communication skill was better that way. And then face to face, they totally freeze, totally, completely, like won't even make eye contact. So I've been on dates like that too. And it's like, okay, like, maybe you need more practice. I don't know. Everyone's different, whatever. I prefer the face to face too. I prefer the being out in the real world and communicating with people.
Right. Excuse me. Well, I imagine, this is probably the case for a lot of people, like in a situation like that. I mean, you're not someone that's just like crazy, like high all the time, but like you have a personality, right? Like that's why you do good as a podcaster. Like you enjoy talking, you enjoy interacting, and you're fun, right? So I imagine if a dude met you for the first time in real life, it was like, oh, I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready for this.
He's like, I thought we were just gonna like say like give like yes and no answers. Like I didn't realize she wanted to have an actual conversation. It probably would freak him out. You know what I mean? I've been on dates with guys who like totally just completely just freeze and like and not many, but like in my head I'm like I feel like this is one of my high school kids in front of me. Like they just don't know how to talk. No, I take it back. My high school kids know how to talk better than this guy, but I just like, communicate and like, so you just learn for me personally, I just learned very quickly of who is better at just texting and who is like wants an actual like relationship with someone or wants something and is looking for something as well. I don't know. It's just, again, I always go back to, you learn something about yourself every time, like the more practice you have. And that's not to say you have to constantly date. And some people do, and that's fine. And that's how they learn about themselves. Me personally, I'm both an introvert and extrovert. So when I've extroverted and I'm gassed out, I'm good. And I need to like barricade myself for a while and like take a break and then recharge my social like energy in that aspect. And then I'll go back on and I'll see what happens. So yeah, it's it's an interesting thing for sure. And it seems like, based on some of the episodes that I've listened to, it seems like a common theme is like it's almost like the stronger you get as an individual,
Mhm.
the potentially the more narrow that um
Mhm.
I can't think of the right word, but like the narrow that group, the smaller that group gets, right?
Yeah.
Like the smaller the group of potential connections is, which is not a bad thing. Like it could seem like a bad thing to someone. It's like you're starting to lose all these options, but that's good because you're narrowing that down and you're getting rid of the clowns, potential clowns, right? I mean,
Yeah.
again, I'm not the host of Not Here to Judge. I don't care. Like Deb's I'll say this too. I want to point this out. If you haven't listened to this episode, or this podcast of Deb's, uh, when she says like, I'm like, that's a great title, Not Here to Judge. Great title. And then I listen to some of your episodes. I'm like, that's like a really fitting title because you really go out of your way sometimes to make sure that people know that you're not judging.
And I think that I make fun of you probably, but I'm not judging you. I'm not like sitting here thinking I'm holier than thou. Like that's not, but really like it truly is like, I'm not even, I mean, I'm not perfect. Like it's gonna sound like I'm judging when I'm sometimes, but that is the concept because we're all learning. Everyone is in the same boat. I swear, like we're just all learning how to live life. Like it's just life. So, and that's why I love having the conversations with my friends. Like the conversations that are on my podcast are genuine because all of us who are talking, we're like, hey, like, it's just a joke. Like, hey, we're not here to judge. Like, you do you. Like, we're not, and so me and my friends were very open with each other. And we just kind of say what we've been through and things that we're experiencing. And it's just, there's no shame and whatever. We're trying to figure it out. And so, will we make fun of you? Yes. But we are not, it's all in like, fun and games, jokingly, but um, you know, we try not to judge, that's for sure. So
Well, you do a good job. Like I said, you definitely make it known that that's not why you're there. Whereas me, I'm like, let it fly. It's all good.
you're like, it's okay, judge away. No, yeah. Yeah. And people want to see people get judged for sure. I know this. And it's just the drama and stuff. But I genuinely could care less. Like I
Yeah.
just don't even care what you do with your life. You go, you do you. Like but if you learn something from it, then let's have a conversation. And that's where I get interested.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
yeah,
Makes sense.
it's the basis of that. So
Yeah. I like
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I hope you learned
Um,
something today about the single life in your 30s. So you're welcome,
yeah.
Josh.
Oh, for me? No, I'm
For
good.
you.
I'm on a different stage of life, but thank
I
you.
know. I just educated him.
Yeah, it was very interesting to me. From the connection standpoint, very interesting. From me personally, I'm like, I don't think I need to know any of that, but it's all good. Just in case I do, I'll know.
No, you're all set. You're just like my married friends. They're asking me, they're like, all right. They're like, Deb, like tell me what are the things? Who are you? What are you doing now? Like all my married friends, they're like, will sit and just listen to all my stories. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, that's what's happening right now when you're single. I'm like, yep. And so that's what you remind me of right now is my married
Yeah.
friends asking me the same questions of what's happening in the dating world. So
Yeah. But I'll be honest with you, because I know you've mentioned that on your podcast. See, I'm not interested in like the gory details.
no, I know you're not, but
Not that I don't care.
my friends are.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's great. I'm not here to judge either when it comes to that. But no, it's weird. It's a weird thing about me. I'm just genuinely not here. I'll say this. My interest kind of stops like, hey, are you enjoying, like, for you specifically, like, are you enjoying it? Are you safe? That's kind of it. Like, I don't need to know, hey, this guy was 25 years old and I did it. Like, I'm good. I'm good. Are you going to show up to the next podcast? That's like that's where my true interest is.
Mm.
And you see how Deb's quiet.
Sorry. I'm trying to focus on what you were saying, and I hear a bunch of noise outside of my window for the first time in a long time. So I was trying to listen to both. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh. No, that's okay. I could tell you were zoned out. I just kept going.
I was zoned. Oh, there it is again. You know how sometimes you're like, is that a gunshot or a firework? That is like what I'm hearing right now.
What's your guess?
Um, it could be a toss up. But anyway, so
No, we established it was a toss up. What
yep.
what do you think it is though? You have to guess.
I'm hoping it's a firework.
Yeah, well, I would
So
hope
let's
so.
just
I would hope so too. Yeah,
you need to repeat
man.
the question. I was
I
not
would
paying attention
I would
in there.
never if something happened, like if we were recording in person and something happened to me where you had to call 911, I'm screwed. It's like, it might be this, it might be that. I don't know. All I know is
Oh.
he's on the ground and he's having a tough time breathing. Can you get here in time? I don't know if I would trust you with my life. That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah. I'm very good in an emergency. So I got you. I work with teenagers. I have to be. I'm always like, have
That's
to
a
be.
good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yes.
But you have to repeat your question because I did not hear it at all. Do you
I don't think
remember?
I don't even think it was a question. I think I was just no, I was just stating like I'm not like I really am not I don't want to say I'm not interested. That sounds bad. Like in whatever you're doing, it's more just like, hey, like are you enjoying it and are you safe? Like that's the main thing. If those two things like, hey, good. Enjoy. Like I don't need to know like, hey, this dude's
Oh,
25. He
yeah.
said this and this. I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean? And that's why
Mhm.
I was making the joke. Like my main focus is she going to show up to the podcast the following
Okay.
week? You know, but
Typical
again,
male. That's fine. That makes sense. The girls want all the details usually.
well, but like you guys have shared before, like guys, see, that's why I think I'm just a weird person in general when it comes to that stuff. Cause I know plenty of guys that just, they're like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. And they're like, but then they're like leaning in, like, what do you mean? What did you say then? Where was this at? Like they love all the details. You know what I mean? Like I know plenty of dudes like that. So
Yeah.
I think wasn't it Nicole said that guys are just as bad, if not worse sometimes when it comes to that.
The details.
Yeah.
It really does depend. Like
But
there's
I think I'm just weird. Like I just, it
no,
doesn't, you know,
like I don't care. No, there's some it's every person's different. Normally, typically it is that the guy could care less about details and the women want lots of details, but
sure.
it can easily be flip-flopped. Like
I think so.
I do know some guys who are like, wait, what? And tell me what? And like,
They
well,
want it all. Yeah.
and some girls are like, is this story almost done? Like, can you hurry up? I don't care. Like, so I do know personality trait, it depends, but typically
Yeah. Well, that's what I guess that's again, that's why I'm part of a different personality because I'm not going to like try to hurry someone along with their story. Like if they want to share it, that's fine, but I don't seek it out. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
partially because like it depends on the relationship. Like I don't feel like it's any of my business. So like I'm
Mm,
not going to like dig for information just to be in the know. If I
yeah.
feel like you know, if I feel like I need to know, then I will. But if it's not really any of my business, and it's like, why would I? Just so I'm in the loop. Like it seems silly to me,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's why
But
I do a podcast though. People just share stuff on those podcasts, and I don't need to dig for it. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's true.
Anyways,
Many reasons.
so that made it sound like I just don't care about Deb's stories. That's not true, everybody. That's not
Yeah.
true.
It's okay. Josh will listen. I could probably talk for 3 more hours and Josh will listen to all my stories.
Hmm.
Stories.
3 hours.
3 hours.
We probably could do a 3 hour podcast, but no one would want to
We
listen to it.
probably could. Yeah, we'd have to break it up into
Maybe
two
we're
episodes.
coming up on 100 pretty soon.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah. Now
crazy.
if we're counting like individual numbers, you're not even close. But I'm approaching 100. We're
Getting up.
still, you know, we're still quite a few away, but I think we're like almost
Can
on 80 at this point. So we're
you imagine
moving up.
how many hours is that total? That's insane.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about um, all of our podcasts that we've done, including Combine,
Even combine? Oh, that's a lot.
well,
How many?
Combine, we ended up, I think, at around 125.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe more. And then, you know, this one obviously up towards 80. So I mean, we're easily, you know,
Yeah.
including the ones we've messed up, you know, over 200.
Yeah.
You know, that's quite a few hours of talking.
It's a lot of talking.
It is.
You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for anybody who's been sticking with this thing since the very beginning.
I'm
Even
always,
it went back to Combine. That's awesome.
I always say I don't know who wants to hear me talk, but
I
some
feel the
people
same way, especially when I have
want.
this raspy voice. It sounds like a frog. You know,
it,
not great.
could it be allergies because this wind has been crazy here in Sac?
That's what everybody
And
keeps saying.
I've caught well, and I've caught myself. Well, I mean, like, not that I'm not trying to say you're not sick, but like, or you don't feel like I've caught myself like today, even like, oh my God, my throat, like, no, am I getting sick? But I'm like, no, like it's been windy, it's been great. Like, I don't know. See, allergies and feeling like you have a cold, like I feel sometimes they feel the same and then I get confused. I don't know. I can
Yeah,
never decipher sometimes because allergies here in Sacramento are so bad.
they're
Like
pretty brutal.
mine are bad. I have to take medicine for sure.
Yeah, I do too. That's why yard work. I've started wearing a mask outside because we have a lot of plants and stuff that weeds on this in this planter bed that get pretty big. So when I chop all that stuff down uh, during the springtime, it's pretty bad. My
Yeah.
face is in it, and it's awful. And I
Mhm.
remember, especially during like the peak of the pandemic, when everything was shut down, and it was around that allergy season. I'm like, like I feel like everybody was freaked out, right? Because you don't want to like sneeze and cough and stuff like that because people are going to think, oh, you have COVID. When really it's like, I have allergies. I swear it's just allergies. And so that was a terrifying time for different
Right.
reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought I had COVID over Thanksgiving break and that no positive. I didn't have a fever, nothing, but like I had like a runny nose, like I just felt like crap. And so I'm like, was it allergies? Was it a quick like 4-day flu? I don't know. Who knows? But
It's hard
I
to
had
say.
when I got back from my Europe trip, I felt so sick.
Yeah.
No fever. And it was out because as soon as I started taking Zyrtec, I was fine. I was like, oh, I just have
Allergies.
really bad allergies.
They are the worst. I hate it
Yeah.
so much.
So there you go. Thank you,
Yeah.
Zach.
Yeah. So we're kind of up against the time here. This has been a random episode. It's been a good one, I feel.
We
Yeah.
started recording very like usually you and I talk a little bit before we hit record. And I swear, as soon as like we logged on, we literally said like we probably talked for 30 seconds, and you're like, I'm just gonna hit record because you were making fun of me about something, and then we just had to start. But we normally talk more before recording. So this has been a definitely random episode. Kind of turned into me talking about my dating world, which is educational. So
Yeah. And it started off with me. Yeah. And just, I was making fun of you because of something ridiculous you said.
what did I say?
Again, I don't know. I can't remember. Sometimes this stuff blends together. I don't know all the stuff that you say about it. It has to do with your connection to this podcast and your loyalty. Like, again, all the stuff that I ranted about earlier. It usually has something to do with that, where it's like you step into this thing like it's all good. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it's like, oh, I'm sorry. You walk in with muddy shoes, you walk into the house, you put your feet on the couch, you put your feet on like the white carpet. You're just like going through my fridge. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, Deb. Welcome home. Welcome back.
That's how I usually walk into your house anyway. It's
That's
fine.
true. That's true. That's like, oh, kids, lock the fridge. Deb's coming over. We can't trust her. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
You should know this by now. Be used
Yeah.
to it.
That's why you don't come over very much anymore. So, we've talked about this before. We don't need to keep going down this road. At this point, everybody knows. And no one, just so you know, I don't think anybody's going to welcome you back like, oh my gosh. We've talked about this before too. I think everybody's finally gotten my message of hey, we don't need to do this anymore because we know that she's going to leave and then come back and then leave and come back and, the whole thing.
I think I'll have some fans that are glad that I'm back. Christine and Nicole will be glad that I'm back.
Do you think Nicole will?
Oh yeah, I just saw her tonight actually. Got up with her tonight.
I've said, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Nicole's on the bubble. I really genuinely think that Nicole might like me better now.
I don't know. I mean, it's a toss up on that for sure.
I'll say as a podcaster, as a friend, obviously you win. That makes sense. But as a podcaster, I don't have the mic issues, all these things that she's tried to correct you on over the years.
Fine. She tells me all the time, stop saying I'm like, I just can't help it. Like, I'm not gonna fix that. I'm 34. I'm not changing. I'm sorry.
You say, oh, speaking of which, I was gonna ask if you say while you're teaching, because I feel like sometimes like when you're in the zone doing your thing.
For sure. I know I think I'm for sure say while I'm teaching.
But I bet it goes way down.
Huh?
I bet it goes way down though.
Yeah, I think so. I think I say it way more on my podcast for sure.
Yeah.
I take longer breaks. So like, for me is like a filler so that there's not such a long pause. When I'm teaching, I do the pause for effect.
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I find that I get their attention more when I pause. Then they all look up. They're like, "Ooh, what is she gonna
Right.
say?" So they're like, "What's happening?" They
Put them
either
on
are
notice.
waiting for me to mess up, like they're gonna laugh at me, or they think I'm mad. Whatever the case, it works. So I pause and I don't do the as a filler as much. So, but when
Right.
I'm talking to friends, I'll say a lot. So I tell Nicole, sorry, it's not gonna change.
Hey, Nicole, you can only do so much. You try. You
Yeah.
try. But no, that being said, before we get out of here, happy national or happy, was it National Teacher Appreciation Week?
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. We
Appreciate
appreciate
right.
all the I'm sorry, what were we saying?
Oh no, yeah, that's right. It's teacher appreciation day today, I think, and then it's teacher appreciation week, I think, this week. Yeah. So
It's a confusing one sometimes. I feel like I don't know
yeah,
why they do that. Let's just make the whole thing the week. Don't worry about the day,
I
you
don't
know.
know. Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you obviously for all the things that you do as a teacher. Like I've told people on this podcast, my wife, my sister are both teachers. Deb's a teacher. And know a lot of different
Surrounded by
teachers,
teachers.
surrounded by teachers. So it's not an easy job, especially these last couple of years with the pandemic and everything, and then obviously all the aftermath of everything that's happening because of that. Teaching is an incredibly difficult job, as you know. I'm not telling you anything new, but we're just super grateful. I'm super grateful for all that you guys do, all of the obviously time, energy, effort, and sacrifice that you guys put in and day out. We're just thankful for all of you teachers, because you guys are, I mean, literally impacting young lives every single day. And it's not an easy job. You guys don't get paid nearly enough for what you do, and but you guys still do it because you're so passionate about it. So for all the amazing teachers out there, we're just appreciative of what you guys do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. We appreciate that.
there we
Thanks.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the teachers that aren't that good, I mean, you know who you are.
So it's not
Either
for you.
step it up or get out. So
Get out.
Deb, do you have anything else to say before you uh leave us again?
Yikes.
I'll see you guys next week.
Josh is trying to say, not me necessarily, which could be true. See, I'm not a liar here. I'm very realistic.
Hey, but hey, hold on. It's you and me next week though too. We don't have a guest lined up for next week.
It is. Oh, you're right. It is. I saw it solo. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I love solos
all
because
right.
because Josh gets to roast me for half an hour right when the episode starts. It's great.
Here's the thing too, everybody. I know this is actually Deb's time to talk, but she says things and now it sets me off. I'm gonna be honest. I think Deb enjoys this part of it. Like, I don't get the sense that this is hurting her feelings at all. She sits back and laughs like an evil villain. The only thing she's missing is a cat. Like, if she's just like petting a cat, like, oh, that's the only thing she's missing right now. And I think the more she talks about it, she's like, oh yeah, I enjoy the roasting. So I think she does this on purpose. I'm not going to roast you next time.
But that's the best part, though. Can I roast you then? Okay, that's what we'll do. I don't know.
We can have a roast battle if you want. You want to do that?
Roast battle. I don't know. I can't. I will just laugh the whole time.
And I'll probably say something that I'm gonna regret.
I won't
later.
even get through. I'm not even gonna try to pretend like I'll be able to get through it. Like I will just laugh the whole time. It'll just be you roasting me.
Let's not do that then. Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like my competitive side might jump in. It's like, oops, I shouldn't have said that.
And then,
let's take it back.
You'll just be bored because I won't throw anything back at you. I'll just be laughing, and you're just gonna be like, well, what's the point of this? Okay, let's just talk about our topic.
Right. Well, and then it just looks like I'm a bully, and then
yeah,
like, he was so mean to Deb. She should kick him off this podcast too. All right, that's what's gonna happen. So, all right, we'll have a topic next week. We won't make this random nonsense, nonsense salad that we do sometimes. So there will be a topic next week that we'll talk about and rein it in a little bit. But basically, this is a catch-up episode.
Yeah. Yep. And people learn something about the online dating world. So there you go.
Yeah. So if you wanted that info, there you go. You got it for free every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
So, all right, there we go.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, that's all I've got too.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Oh, where can they follow us, Deb?
You guys can follow us on Twitter at Connectable Pod and Instagram at Connectable Podcast and Facebook and YouTube, of course, if you're watching this right now.
Look at that. Nice work.
Truly, you can totally sponsor us if you want to, just saying.
Sure. Yeah, if you believe in what we're doing here, then you can, sponsor us. We're more than welcome to have a sponsor. So, all right, cool. Well, we will see you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.